Hello there and welcome back to my channel. If you are a returning subscriber or viewer, thank you very much for your continued support. This means the world to me, and this means that I can continue to grow my channel, get the word out there and help people that are going through an Access to Nursing course. If you're new here, then welcome, and this channel is all about my Access to Nursing journey with LearnDirect. I'm really excited to share these new content videos with you, and as always I try to make creative, informative and engaging content. This unit is all about Unit 7, the Human Digestive System and Nutrition. Please feel free to pause and navigate as you wish as we go through the presentation, and particularly when I'm doing my presentation notes, as you can make notes. Please do not copy my work word for word. This is plagiarism and it will result in you being removed from the course or any other course that you're doing. This unit is graded and you will receive either a pass, merit or distinction, as opposed to the non-graded units where you have an achieved or unachieved mark. It's really important to know that you can still send your tutor a draft, and this is a really useful tool for you because you can see where you're excelling or where you require further guidance. You have access to this tool up until Unit 9, so please make sure that you use it because it's a really useful tool. There are 2 questions to answer in this assignment, and the first one is a video presentation of no more than 10 minutes. So the first question is you're required to deliver a presentation that explains the following: the structures and functions of the digestive system, the processes of mechanical and chemical digestion to include the optimum conditions for the enzymes involved, and you must discuss at least 2 specific named enzymes, for example pepsin. And you must also explain the constitution food groups of a balanced diet and provide examples of those sources. Again, like I said in all my other videos, you need to read the guidance because it's really important. And the guidance on this is that you're to use and produce a set of slides using PowerPoint or similar software, and you can use these to support the delivery of your presentation. Any notes that you use must be submitted as part of your assignment, and the presentation will need to be a video that's recorded up and put onto YouTube. The video must clearly show you delivering the presentation, and you must not embed your files into the presentation, so it must be a live video showing you doing the presentation. You have a 10-minute duration, and that is the maximum that you're permitted. And again, any sources that you reference must be referenced in a reference list, and a bibliography must be provided. This is the guidance for uploading videos to YouTube for anyone that is doing a LearnDirect course. And you're to go to YouTube, set up the account and upload your file as usual. And before you publish, you'll be asked whether the video will be made public, unlisted or public. You're going to select unlisted because you don't want it to be a public video, but you also don't want it to be a private video. What unlisted means is that you can send your tutor a link, and if they can only access that video through that link, so it's a really useful tool for you to use, especially while you're on the course. And then once you've completed the course, you can make these videos public, which is what I have done. So I will also put in the description a link to my video that I did for this unit, and you can click on that and have a look at the video. Give yourself some ideas, take some notes, but again, don't copy things word for word. This is just a help, tips and hints guide to help you progress on your course. I'm not here to give you the answers. So to answer question 1, I created a keynote presentation, but you can use apps such as Microsoft PowerPoint. To create the presentation, I used the live video feature in Keynote, and this is also available in Microsoft PowerPoint. I overlaid any animations to complement the commentary, and as I'm talking to you now, this is exactly how I did the video. I also used presentation notes whilst I recorded the PowerPoint, and I'll take you on to the next slide here. And this is what it looks like when you're doing a presentation or recording the presentation. You have the record button down there on the left, and it will record you as you're speaking. And as you're going from slide to slide, the presenter notes change with any pre-written information that you have on there, making it really, really useful to have consistent slides, meaning that you don't get lost, you don't babble on, and you don't stutter, which is what I do a lot. So I'll quickly take you to the next slide now, and that will show you a screen recording of my presenter notes. I'll go through it section by section, take it in slow time, pause it, make notes, navigate through, but again, do not copy my work word for word. So I'll take you there now. Okay, so as you can see here, these are my presentation notes for Unit 7, and specifically for question 1, which is a 10-minute presentation. So as always, whenever I'm doing any notes, I always have headers with my name, the course I'm doing, and the unit. This is the human digestive system, and as you can see here where it says please follow the attached link to view my presentation, I have the link. And I said when you put an unlisted video on there, that only your tutor can access that video via this link that you give them. So I uploaded this as part of my assessment. Whenever you do any notes on a video presentation, you always have to upload the slides that you do, be that in PowerPoint or Keynote, and then any Word documents or page documents that you have with any written commentary on there as part of your assessment. So slides 1 to 2 was a welcome to my presentation on the human digestive system presented by myself, Bradley Evans. Slide 3, and this was the contents of this presentation, will consist of the following: structures and functions of the digestive system, mechanical and chemical digestion, enzymes and their optimal conditions, and then constituent food groups and balanced diet. So that will answer all 3 of the questions that you need to answer, but I deliberately put it into 4 sections so that the assessor could see exactly what I was talking about at that time. So I lead on to say, what is digestion? Digestion is the process of breaking down and absorbing nutrients deemed ingested food molecules and providing cells with the required energy to synthesize, grow and repair. Digestion can be split into 5 separate sections. Digestion is split into 5 main processes. Ingestion, where food molecules are taken into the mouth and swallowed. Propulsion, and this is where food molecules are propelled through the alimentary canal via a process known as peristalsis. Digestion is where food is mechanically and chemically broken down into smaller molecules so the body can absorb them easily. Absorption is the absorption of nutrients from mechanically and chemically broken down molecules to provide cells with energy. And elimination is the excretion of indigestible waste products in the form of feces. Then I went on to the next slide, which is the alimentary canal, and this again answers the first part, which is the structures and functions of the digestive system. So the alimentary canal, or known as the gastrointestinal tract, the structure is made up of a hollow tube that connects the mouth to the anus, and it has 4 layers of epithelial tissue surrounding the lumen. The alimentary canal consists of the following: the mouth, the pharynx, the esophagus, the stomach, the small intestine, the large intestine, the rectum and the anus. The alimentary canal also utilizes organs such as the liver, gallbladder, pancreas and salivary glands. Accessory organs are vital in assisting digestion through chemical processes by secreting enzyme hormones and bile. The mouth is where digestion begins. Food molecules enter the mouth where the teeth mechanically break down food into smaller molecules through a process known as mastication or chewing. The salivary glands with the buccal membrane secrete saliva, laced with digestive enzymes like amylase. And remember here, in the processes of mechanical and chemical digestion, it says that you need to include optimum conditions for enzymes, and you must at least discuss 2 specific enzymes. So I've discussed amylase there. This helps lubricate the food and catalyze chemical reactions that break down starch into easily absorbed maltose, which the body utilizes later in the digestive process. When food is masticated and mixed with saliva, with the help of the tongue, it's rolled into a small ball known as a bolus. The bolus is then passed through the pharynx by degulsion, swallowing. The pharynx, better known as the throat, is a muscular tube that connects the oral cavity to the esophagus. Its structure comprises skeletal muscle lined with a mucosal membrane. Its function is to transport food from the oral cavity into the esophagus, and a little leaf-like cartilage known as the epiglottis stops food from accidentally entering the trachea when the pharynx lifts. The esophagus is a hollow tube that in most adults measures around 25 centimeters in length. The function of the esophagus is to carry the bolus into the stomach. Then I went on to the stomach. And the stomach's function is to temporarily store food and further the bolus's digestion. The stomach is able to stretch and accommodate large amounts of food and is protected by a mucosal lining that acts as a protective barrier to avoid damaging its cells by its high acidic environment. Secreted digestive enzymes in the stomach, like pepsin, help break down proteins into polypeptide amino acids. So there I've discussed the 2 enzymes that help with digestion, amylase and pepsin. The stomach utilizes the 3 layers of smooth muscular fibers that contract in different directions, churning and mixing the bolus with the gastric juices through these peristaltic movements. Gastric juices consist of water, enzymes such as pepsin and lipase, mineral salts, hydrochloric acid, an intrinsic factor that aids absorption of vitamin B. One chemical and chemical processes that break down and further liquefy the bolus, it becomes an oat-like paste known as chyme. The pylorus would then force the chyme into the duodenum past the pyloric sphincter. The small intestine. The function of the small intestine is to complete the chemical and mechanical breakdown of chyme and absorb the nutrients extracted. This is achieved through mechanical, parasympathetic stimulation and the secretion of bile, pancreatic and intestinal juices. The small intestine structure is lined with many epithelial villi that create a large surface area, aiding in the absorption of nutrients. The entry site of the villi allows for the diffusion of nutrients into the bloodstream and the distribution of energy to cells. The small intestine is split into three parts: the duodenum, the jejunum, and the ileum. The duodenum will complete chemical digestion by neutralizing acidic contents received from the stomach to ensure the secretion of digestive enzymes such as lipase, peptidase, sucrase, maltase, and lactase can function within their optimal conditions. This is achieved through the secretions of mucus containing alkaline bicarbonate from the pancreas to neutralize the acidic environment. So there I've answered about optimal conditions for enzymes. The ileum ends at the iliac valve, a small sphincter muscle leading to the sacrum. Then I move on to the next slide, large intestine. And the large intestine is divided into four areas: the ascending, transverse, descending, and sigmoid colon. The sigmoid colon leads to the rectum, which terminates at the anal canal. The function of the large intestine is to absorb electrolyte and salts from undigested materials, move waste products into the rectum, and eliminate them via the anus. The structure of the large intestine is thicker than the small intestine, and it does not contain a large lining of villi in the construction of the epithelial cell. However, it has what is known as a goblet cell. These specialized epithelial cells secrete mucus to lubricate the feces, assisting movement into the rectum. The large intestine does not exhibit typical peristaltic movements like other areas of the digestive tract. At between 4 to 6 intervals a day, a wave of solid, strong peristaltic movement along the transverse colon forces its content into the descending and sigmoid colon, and this process is known as mass movement. The large intestine is home to trillions of prokaryotic bacteria that ingest some indigestible materials, producing beneficial substances like vitamin K that assist in clotting in the blood and regulate enzymes such as insulin. I then go on to slide 12, where the rectum stores feces and the anus expels the waste product. I then go on to slide 13. To recap, mechanical digestion physically breaks down food substances into smaller molecules to effectively undergo chemical digestion. An example of this is mastication. Chemical digestion is to change the molecular structure of the ingested molecule by secretion of digestive enzymes into a form that is absorbable by the body. An example would be pepsin. It breaks down large proteins into smaller polypeptide amino acids, making absorption easier. I then go on to slide 14 to talk about enzymes and optimal conditions. What are enzymes? An enzyme is a substance that catalyzes chemical reactions in living organisms, without itself being altered. We will look at 3 enzymes and their optimal conditions to optimize their ability to catalyze reactions. So again, I make a point of optimum conditions for enzymes. Even though I spoke about it earlier, I mention it again. And I'm also mentioning more than one here. So it says you need to mention 2, I'm mentioning more. It just shows further reading and it gives you good points with the assessor. Amylase is found in the saliva and is a carbohydrase enzyme that breaks down starch into simple sugars like maltose. Amylase can be found throughout the alimentary canal and it has an optimum temperature of 37 degrees Celsius and an optimum pH of 7, making it neutral. These conditions help optimize its ability to catalyze its chemical processes. Pepsin, a peptidase enzyme found in the stomach, is used to break down proteins into polypeptide amino acids. It has an optimal temperature of 37 degrees and an optimal pH level of 2.5, and that makes it acidic. Trypsin is also a peptidase enzyme found in the small intestine and is secreted from the pancreas as part of its intestinal juices. It also breaks down proteins into polypeptide amino acids, and it has the same optimal temperature of pepsin at 37 degrees Celsius, but differs in its optimal pH range as it prefers a more alkaline neutral pH level of 8. I then go on to slide 15, and I say, when enzymes are not in their optimal environment, for example, temperature and pH, they begin to denture. This is a process known in which conditions in the enzyme's active sites become compromised, and their active sites become warped and no longer fit the substrate, causing no reaction. This is known as denturing the enzyme. Slide 16, I went on to say, a balanced diet is considered to be one that provides the body with sufficient macro and micronutrients in the form of calories, fats, protein, carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals, and fluids, without over or under consuming. This can help prevent the development of dietary-related health conditions such as obesity, type 2 diabetes, HBP, or cancer. As you can see from the diagram, carbohydrates group 2 makes up most of the dietary requirements, and are the energy-giving foods in sources like rice, pasta, potatoes, and bread. Whole grain varieties are more beneficial as they provide good sources of slow-release energy sustaining the body for longer. They're also a good source of vitamins and minerals and are high in dietary fibres that regulate the excretion of waste minerals. Above carbohydrates, we have group 3, fruits and vegetables, where our primary source of micronutrients. They're an essential aspect of our diet as they help digestion of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, and are crucial to a balanced nutritional diet, even though they do not hold any actual calorie or energy value. They're naturally low in calories content due to the high water content, and they provide the body with antioxidants and have a wide range of beneficial vitamins and minerals like vitamins A, B, C, D, E, and K. Minerals like folic acid, magnesium, and potassium that help boost our immune system. They are also naturally high in fibre and can be found in sources such as apples, bananas, oranges, leafy greens, and other vegetables. Group 1 and 4 can be found towards the top of the food pyramid and contain mostly proteins, primarily meat and oily fish. Alternative sources of proteins like beans can also provide dietary fibre. Protein is a macronutrient that contains amino acids, and they are the body's building foods that help grow and repair our bodies. The body must ingest some amino acids, as unlike plants, the human body cannot produce all of our amino acids, and some must be eaten and ingested. Too little protein can lead to reducing muscle mass and a reduced metabolism. At the top of the pyramid are lipids or fats, which must be consumed in small amounts. They can be found in sources like buttery spreads and oils. It's important to note that there are 2 forms of fats: unsaturated fats that can help prevent disease and are found in sunflower oil, nuts and seeds, and oily fish, and bad fats, which are saturated fats that can cause high blood pressure and cholesterol, lead to other health conditions such as obesity, are found in the fried foods and butter. It's also vital that the body stays hydrated, as without water the body cannot provide anabolic or catabolic reactions and other crucial functions in ensuring the survival of the host organism. When not correctly hydrated, cells will shrivel and malfunction, and it can also upset the balance of minerals and salts, which can lead to a worst case scenario of organ failure. Thank you for watching my presentation. So as you can see here in my presenter notes, I've just literally gone through slide by slide what I want to talk about, how I want to talk about it, ensuring that I answer the questions and the specific scenarios for those questions. I'll take you on to my reference list. So anything that I've referenced needs to be in a reference list like this, and it needs to be set out in the Harvard method. So Harvard referencing is really simple. Once you get the hand of it, you can use YouTube to find out how it should be done, or if you're on the Learn Direct Access course, you can use the handbook as it gives you a reference guide on how to do that. So just make sure it's all referenced here and it's all in alphabetical order. And then a bibliography is much like a reference list, except you use absolutely everything that you've used to gain the knowledge. So you also include all of your references and any websites or books that you may have gone off and used. So really quickly there, alongside the references and bibliography, I'm just going to show you 2 books that I used that really helped me with this course. So you have here Anatomy and Physiology for Dummies, and it is the 3rd edition. This was really useful because it had absolutely everything I needed to know in there. And when it says it's for dummies, they literally dumb down all of the scientific wording to help you understand it. And then when you do read the scientific wording, you know exactly what it needs you to do. And a really useful thing in the back is they have a glossary so you can see what everything means. Another book that I found really useful was the Ross and Wilson Anatomy and Physiology 13th edition. And this was really good because it had pictures and diagrams in there of everything that you could need. So like the eating well guide, things like that. It has pictures of the alimentary canal, the digestive system. And the good thing about this book here, the Anatomy and Physiology one from Wilson and Grant, is that they use the scientific language. So the Anatomy and Physiology for Dummies dumbs everything down once you read it. And then when you come to read the more scientific books, you have an idea of what it is that you need to write. So they're really good for those. I just thought I'd give you guys a little look at some of the stuff that I used alongside the references. This is question 1. This is question 2. Question 2 is that you need to produce a short essay analysing the dietary scenarios provided in the assessor's guidance below, which I'll show you later on. And within your analysis, you need to be able to discuss the consequences of not achieving a balanced diet and provide recommendations. Again, it's really important that you read the grey guidance, as this essay should be written in paragraphs that flow. You must attempt to include some conclusion and recommendations towards the end of your essay. Relevant theory must be referenced, and you need to provide a reference list and bibliography here, and that the essay should be a maximum of 1,000 words, and that is the absolute maximum that you're permitted to use. So the assessor's scenarios look a little bit like this. You'll get 3 scenarios that you download from your online portal, and I'll pause it here, have a read of the scenarios, and then these will be something that I answer later on in the screen recording. So I'll take you to the screen recording and show you how I answered the question for these scenarios. As always, when I'm answering a question, I have my headers with my name, the course I'm doing, and the unit that I'm doing. This is question 2, analysis of scenarios. And question number 1 answers the scenarios according to Michael. So according to the NHS BMI calculator, Michael's age, height and weight place him at a BMI of 30.9, classifying him as obese. From the data provided, it is evident that Michael is over-consuming unhealthy food groups high in calories, saturated fats and unhealthy carbohydrates. In addition, his reduced ability to exercise and subsequent diet plan place him at increased risk of dietary-related illnesses such as heart disease, type 2 diabetes, cancers and strokes. His daily intake equals 2,700 calories, meaning he's consuming 200 calories more than is recommended for an adult male, according to nutritionist Kerry Torrance. In addition, Michael may be deficient in some nutrients, like vitamins B12 and E, and minerals such as magnesium and iron. Therefore, Michael needs to improve his lifestyle by eating a more nutritional diet. Simple swaps with a better balance of macro and micronutrients such as leafy greens, oranges, and lean proteins like turkey and chicken will reduce his saturated fat intake, and swapping to wholemeal carbohydrates will sustain his energy levels, hunger, and provide a good nutrition dietary fibre. It's also important to note that for Michael to lose weight, the NHS BMI calculator has recommended that he consumes 1904 to 2448 calories a day to lose 1 to 2 pounds a week. Michael sustained a previous knee injury that has prevented him from providing high-impact exercise. He could benefit from low-impact alternatives such as walking for a minimum period of 30 minutes a day, yoga or stationary cycling to include his exercise output, and moderately reduce his risk of heart disease, stroke and type 2 diabetes. Overall, it would benefit Michael if he made simple changes to the food that he incorporates into his diet and increases his exercise levels to reduce his risk of developing dietary-related illnesses and increase his overall health and well-being. I then went on to answer question 2 scenario all about Stephanie, and I answered it by writing, according to the NHS's BMI calculator, Stephanie's BMI is 13.6, and this puts her category as underweight. Stephanie is attempting to become pregnant. According to Better Health, being underweight can affect women's fertility by causing imbalances in hormones such as estrogen that can affect the release of eggs during ovulation, decreasing the chances of meiosis. A healthy weight for Stephanie could be between 7 stone 10 and 10 stone 6, and assuming that Stephanie is not consuming her required intake of 2,000 calories a day for women would result in her being undernutritious. It would benefit Stephanie if she ate a nutritional diet that contained fruit, vegetables, lean proteins like chicken and turkey, and starchy carbohydrates like pasta, rice and bread, ensuring she's provided with the correct amount of nutrients to maintain a healthier weight. In addition to this, her diagnosis of anemia would benefit Stephanie if she improved her iron intake by taking supplements or consuming red meats, brown rice, and apricots. If Stephanie improves her eating habits and adopted a nutritious diet, together it would increase her chances of conceiving and help with her anemia diagnosis. According to the NHS, taking folic acid supplements daily can also help increase the chances of becoming pregnant. Overall, Stephanie would benefit from increasing her weight to a healthy BMI range, as research has suggested this will dramatically increase her chances of becoming pregnant. Not only would a healthy nutritional diet improve her health and well-being, but it would also manage and improve her iron deficiency and diagnosis of anemia. Again, when I'm writing these, at the end I've always put a little conclusion and recommendations because that's what it asks within the questions. So scenario 3, I went on to answer it like this about Imran, who is a 12-year-old gamer. So I put, it would appear from the doctor's observations that Imran has symptoms indicative of rickets disease. Rickets affects the development of bones in children and is caused by a lack of vitamin D and calcium. Imran is at risk of developing the disease, which can follow him into adulthood, known as osteomalacia. He must increase his vitamin D and calcium consumption, and Imran would benefit from a more nutritional diet that incorporates dairy products like milk, cheese, and yogurts to increase his calcium levels and sources of vitamin D like salmon, mackerel, sardines, red meats, liver, and egg yolks. Imran's parents should also encourage him to be outside, as the body can create vitamin D from direct sunlight. Being outside enables Imran to socialise with others and help his childhood development. It's also a beneficial way for him to remain active and keep his weight under control. The NHS has a wealth of knowledge online regarding healthy eating and information on constituent food groups. The NHS launched the Better Health Initiative in 2020 and has excellent advice on losing weight and maintaining a nutritional diet. This is something Imran's parents could encourage him to participate in, and even participate with him as an informal support network. Overall, Imran's health and well-being would benefit from increased vitamin D and calcium intake, and ensure a balanced intake of macro and micronutrients through portioned carbohydrates, lean proteins, and sources of dairy and fibre. Imran should ensure that he has an intake of 2,500 calories and consumes 2,000 milligrams of calcium, following the NHS's RI advice. This would lead to ensuring he does not further develop rickets disease. I then went on to conclude and provide recommendations. So I wrote, to conclude, it's evident from all 3 scenarios that a healthy nutritional diet that incorporates all constituent food groups and ensures the consumption of proportioned macro and micronutrients can help deter the development of dietary-related deficiencies and diseases, and leads to a better quality of life and well-being. Recommendations are that all 3 individuals mentioned in the case studies would benefit from a better understanding of a healthy nutritional diet and its benefits. The NHS and other organisms has various informative information that can help make simple changes to the lifestyle, diet, and overall well-being. I then provided the reference and bibliography list here. As you can see, feel free to pause at any point through this video, get some ideas from what I've written, have a look at the references and bibliography so that you can go away and further research things for yourself as well. So that answers question 2, which leads me on to referencing and bibliography. So in both question 1 and question 2, you need to reference any work that you use that isn't your own, and you must credit the author. You must also produce a bibliography, which is where all your references go, and any outside reading or outside learning that you use that helped you answer the question should be in there. And the reason you put a bibliography in your work is to show that you've done extended research and further learning. So once I'd submitted my work, it took around 3 days for the assessor to get back to me and give me my final grade. And as you can see here, I got an overall grade of distinction. And my assessor commented saying that you've produced a very well presented set of slides and accurate referencing images are cited correctly. Spelling, pronunciation, and grammar is excellent. Your pictures and diagrams add value, and it is good to see that you have not just read from the PowerPoint in your presentation, but added significant extra detail. Your pace is excellent, your tone is enthusiastic and engaging, and overall an excellent report, and you're working around a distinction. So when I said earlier about being able to look at the camera and having your presentation notes alongside your slides, it will get you marks like this. So it will see that you're engaging, you're not looking at a sheet off the other side of the camera. She then went on to say that you've discussed the structures and functions of the digestive system. This is an excellent description, including how each organ is adapted to its function in excellent detail. She then went on to explain other things that I did well in the presentation. To improve, extend your understanding of nutrition by discussing deficiency diseases. And then for question 2, she said a very interesting discussion regarding 3 people with 3 very different nutritional requirements. Essay presentation is neat, spelling, punctuation and grammar is great, and referencing is accurate. You have clearly discussed the consequences of not achieving a balanced diet and provided recommendations on how the diets could be improved in excellent detail for each person. Overall, an excellent discussion, and you are working at distinction. To extend your understanding, include how poor mental health can be a contributing factor and also a consequence of unbalanced diet. So what I really like about the assessor's feedback is they'll tell you what you're doing really well, and they'll also give you an example of what you could have included to further improve your work, which is really good. She then went on to explain further as you get these grade descriptors. So understanding of the subject is a distinction, application of knowledge is distinction, unit of information is a distinction, communication and presentation, distinction, and quality, distinction. They then put in there their little feedback to say how you did well. And then at the bottom, you will get a final commentation from your assessor. And they will give you a personalized feedback here. And it just says what you're doing well, what you could have put in there to improve, and suggestions for improvement, which I think was really useful because then it helped me go off to my next assignment with some information on what I could do better. And when I went on to produce other videos later on in the course, it was really, really helpful. So I just want to thank you all for checking out my latest YouTube video, and I really appreciate your support and engagement, and having you as part of my community means the world to me. If you've liked this video, I'd be thrilled if you give it a thumbs up, leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. And if you subscribe to my channel, hit that bell button and you can be notified when I upload new videos. Your support helps me to keep creating content that I hope you'll enjoy, and it helps get the word out there to help other people that may be struggling with an access course. So thank you again, and I'm really excited to share more videos with you soon. Until next time, take care.